emotional violence, we look at physical violence, we look at violence in terms of online that comes along with the digital activism alongside the struggles of women to liberate themselves in the technology world. But we also look at the 16 days of activism. 16 days of activism were actually put into place, which started running yesterday on every 25th of November, and do have a climax on the 10th of December, which is the International Human Rights Day. And so today we want to look at basically from a perspective that this year's theme is Unite Against Digital Violence. We are looking at how do we liberate, or what do we add in the conversation to ensure that there is really no violence against women within the digital aspect part of it. And of course, in studios, I am not alone. I am joined by a very beautiful team, which I will be very much honored to allow to introduce themselves to our listeners. And I will start it off with you, Miracle. Miracle, kindly introduce yourself to our listeners.
Yes, thank you so much, Tracy. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you for all our viewers. My name is Nasaze Miracle. I'm a member of the Girls and Women Membership Space, and I'm also the 91st Deputy Guild Speaker at Makerere University. And I'm really, really happy to be here, really happy that we're discussing something beautiful and impactful. And thank you for tuning in.
Thank you so much, Miracle, for joining us. Next to Miracle is Harriet Ankunda. Harriet, kindly introduce yourself to our listeners again.
Thank you so much for having me, Mistress Siding, this evening. Harriet Ankunda is my name, and I'm a student leader at Makerere University. I serve as a Guild Representative Counselor for the School of Liberal and Performing Arts, the elect representative of Makerere University to Uganda National Students Association, and I can't say that I'm as very privileged enough to be part of this panel this evening that is going to be very elaborate about matters pertaining violence and how we can very much eliminate it in our spaces. And I greet you all, our beloved viewers, this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Harriet, for joining us. Next to Harriet is Patience. Patience, kindly introduce yourself to our viewers.
Thank you very much, Tresseline. Good evening, wonderful viewers. My name is Patience Nwagaba. I am a co-founder at Girls and Mentorship Space. I am a creative artist, and specifically I'm a writer. I'm a playwright and a screenwriter. And at Girls and Mentorship, I not only serve as a co-founder, but I am part of a very big sisterhood where we mostly provide a space for young girls and women to carry out peer mentorship, to guide each other through social and political and growth spaces. So I am delighted to be here because this is the time where we discuss matters that concern women and girls, and as a gender in entirety. So I'm delighted. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much, Patience, for joining us also from Girls and Mentorship Space. Talking about violence, like I had highlighted before, and particularly the aspects that you're looking at, Unite Against Digital Violence. I do well know that as a creative artist, but also as a young leader, maybe Harriet and Miracle, but even as an employed person who is trying to use digital spaces or technology to earn a living, one in 3 women actually do face violence. And so if we are to look at technology, where we are heading, because everywhere seems to get into a more technology world, we cannot live without it. From your preamble, Patience, and the perspective of the fight against violence of women and young girls, what is your context in regards to how you think the fight has been before the technology actually advanced as it is today?
Thank you very much, Tresseline. Now, before the prevalence of technology, I can say the fight was pretty strong, but I think everything came tumbling down when technology took precedence in whatever we are doing, because technology is a very interesting phenomenon, that you are not physically with someone, but you can engage with them over miles and miles. So it is not physical, so people have not given it as much attention as it deserves, because if I cannot touch you, then I cannot harass you. If I'm sending you a message, how are you going to say that I'm harassing you? Do you have proof? Okay, even if you have proof, have I harmed you? Have I maybe beaten you? So the fact that it is not physical, it has been very challenging for people to actually accept and start dealing with it. So I'm just glad that with the 16 days of activism this year, we are focusing on cyberbullying, on all the other forms of violence on social media, that right now we can tackle them and handle them, because previously it has been very, very hard for someone to come up and throw maybe a demeaning comment, and then you say, this person is harassing me. How? We don't understand that if you explain that to us. But I'm really glad that with the 16 days of activism and the literacy that is going on, especially with organizations, with people who are coming up and debating these things, we are getting the hang of it, and the fight is starting strong. So I can say it's a very good start for us. And if we go on like this, we're going to achieve great. Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe my question will be to Ankunda here. We all know that we are in the period of elections, and of course smart campaigns are one of those strategies that young people, particularly women, have decided to use, because somehow it is less costly. It is easier for me to go on TikTok and talk to my voters. It is easier for me to post on Twitter and talk to my voters. But also we know that the same avenue has, on the other hand, been used to disempower, to discriminate, but also to put a pushback and line on women behind. And this is very much evident. You all know a certain member of parliament who was running, and there was an allegation of these are her nudes, so she's a lady, IA is in place. Whether it is you or not is a fundamental question, because how do we deal with it? You know, even if I am the one that is in the video, what consent do you have? And I feel like this again blocks women or puts them behind the curtain, and even makes others scared to show up. So in your perspective, especially from a university angle, but also as someone who has been following up what is happening within the political structures in terms of online-based campaigns, what extent do you assess the form of the level of violence that women and girls face, in particular regards to elections?
Okay, beautiful. That's an amazing one, Ms. Tresseline. And I'll start it off this way, that violence, especially against women, is not an alien idea to Uganda as a nation, but also largely to Africa as a continent, and even globally. It is something we have been battling for quite a period, because it has come to us from a direction that is very strong, the aspect of culture. We have seen cultural activities, cultural norms that are not as supportive of women, and not to say we should not embrace them, or not to say they are bad. You know, we tend to have a habit of poking fingers at what is not right, and we do not love to devise means of working around it, and I don't usually belong to that party, so I usually love us to stay as positive as we can be, so that we see how we can arrive at solutions. So it is not an alien idea, and it is not something as minute. It is a perspective one might have to pay a lot of attention to, because it dates from way back. So we do not only have violence manifesting in technological spaces that we are using now that we have them, but it is a cancer one would have to fight from the grassroots, because it is existent in our societal structures. It is existent in the systems, the very same systems that govern us in society. So I will give a stand, first of all, that it is happening. and that it is something that is not good because it can be as demeaning, it can be as demotivating, and we have seen it cripple good leaders. We have seen it cripple people that have, you know, put themselves at the front to be able to serve people, but the very same people are, you know, trying to demotivate, trying to portray them in the bad light by the very exact same case, for example, that you have given us. There was a leader that was running, I think, for a certain position.
Yes.
I think Western something, for those that have been around, we have watched the space, and it did not go well. We all must agree. So the masses need to be as educated. The masses need to be as good, not only to spread bad energy, you know, because the moment I put myself at the front, that I've decided to lead people, there's certain things that I expected. But today it could be me at the front line, you know, tomorrow it could be you at the front line. So we need to be as empathetic. We need to also not aim at spreading hate, not aim at demotivating, and join in those that have started the run, those that have started the campaign, to fight and stigmatize violence that is being especially directed towards ladies, but I also must say that it is happening to gents sometimes, though the fight apparently is towards the ladies. It is not a good thing. I highly and strongly condemn it, and I would call my fellow youths in the nation to join in this run that is directed towards elimination of violence against the ladies, and especially now in the digital spaces that we are using. Join us as we together devise means of how we can curb it, because evidently it is not good, and it is something we must fight, and it is a cause that is very great that we need to rally behind. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Harriet, for that. Getting to you, Miracle, in the perspective of, again, digital violence or technology aided or facilitated violence, in terms of if, for example, I was harassed online, are there reporting mechanisms, and then also to the question of power? Because I know power is one of those questions we have consistently talked about. Power over specifically. Power over in the sense that power over patriarchy society has a power over the women and girls. And of course, sometimes people feel they can do something and go away with it. And also they feel women won't do much, or they won't even show up, because you're told the good girl is the one who doesn't complain, the good girl is one who takes yes for an answer. In the perspective of power, deconstructing power, how far can we go to ensure that it is neutralized, to have it a safer way for women to participate in the different activities? But also, how safe is it that the area where this violence happens is never a rescue platform when it comes to reporting?
Thank you so much, Tresleen, for that question. And it's a beautiful discussion around power, around, you know, self-importance. And I want to agree that statistics says it's really grave. We've looked at 93% of revenge porn or pornography being about women, 85% of women facing digital violence, 73% having, you know, facing cyber insecurity. And I mean, the environment may not be enabling, policy is not enabling. If you look at Uganda's policy, it is not really speaking specifically to women, yeah? It's not speaking specifically to gender, rather to digital violence. And that is our call, I think, in these 16 days of activism, that we need intentional policy, that we are speaking that government should be much intentional. If we're really looking at women empowerment and whatever is happening in society is really dragging down the move, then government should really be deliberate in making sure that now they move with the trend. If we are really moving into technology, if we are moving into, you know, the trend is really, you know, times are moving. There is AI. How is policy adaptable to these changes? I think that is a question that many people are trying to address to government, to policymakers, to make sure that, yeah, they should be receptive, they should be adaptable to all these changes. But also we look at the different platforms, the online platforms, I think they're not safe enough. And the call is to maybe the developers. Can they make them really safe enough? Can there be some mechanisms of making sure that, I mean, violence is really curbed, but if we have our maybe platforms where it is, you cannot do anything, it is not even prohibited. I mean, it is prohibiting in the move of women empowerment, it is inhibiting the move of curbing gender violence. And I think we need to really look at the environment that we are working in. When we go to the reporting mechanisms, I want to speak to, I mean, some studies have showed that 1 in 10 women report. And why is it that? Maybe they don't trust the process. I mean, look at the bureaucracies, look at the process. How long does it take? When is the feedback coming? Does it even, work at the end of the day? Are people really taken into court or prosecuted, or is justice served? Those are questions that are underlying and that need to be addressed by every person, policymakers, people in governance, so that we make sure that women are confident enough to report, but also that when they report, justice is served, at least something is happening. So I think that is what I would really say in regards to that.
So again, before I get back to Patience, when we talk about technology facilitated violence, in a ratio of, from a percentage of 100, how is the situation when it comes to women in rural areas vis-a-vis the women in rural areas, and then also with the exposure around and the victims going silent? How much can we achieve?
Yeah, that is a very beautiful angle to look at this, because many people cannot actually, they don't even have access to maybe some of these platforms or maybe mechanisms of reporting. And I think it is a call to a civic movement. Generally, it is a call for a civic movement for us to get together, to move a collective voice. Because at the end of the day, if we move a collective voice, if we move a collective agenda, it will deep down get to those people. Because I mean, gender violence speaks to, first of all, culture, attitude in society, what people think. I mean, many people in the villages, or many of our young sisters or young women, believe this is okay. It's something that is normal. They can live with it. And no one is speaking on their behalf. No one is really reaching the information to maybe policy, to people who can actually help. So I think it is a question or an angle of civic movement for us to be able to create an energy, to create a movement that can literally reach down to these people and help them at the end of the day.
Interesting. Thank you. Patience, when you look at women, particularly in the creative industry where you come from, but also within the fashion world, I know if you follow, for example, on Twitter, you perhaps find one who has been abused almost every time. And also the fact that how you dress, whatever picture you take, you have control over it. But sometimes someone will randomly share your picture on a certain platform where you're not aware about. And it is worse when you look at medias like TikTok, where you don't have restrictions on who actually views sometimes, because the scope is very, very, very much bigger compared to WhatsApp, maybe, where you can limit on, you can hide, or you can even decide who each person you save their contact and all that. How is it, especially that fashion and creative art is one of those where we've seen many women come through to economically empower themselves or to try to hustle here and there? How safe is the environment? But also maybe from your experience and people you've worked with, are there scenarios where there have been cases reported and also those cases either prosecuted or handled, and how have they maybe been handled?
Thank you very much, Tresseline. Now, I come from an industry where appearance and the way you present yourself to the rest of the world determines how much mileage you'll get determines how you will be received by the general public. Now, for example, if you're a musician and you're going on stage, first of all, your performance will start from how you will dress. How you will dress, the first thing you will say, how you will respond to rather interesting approaches from men. If someone is touching you, how will you respond to their touches? If you're putting out a song, what is the latest fashion you will be exhibiting? And same crosses over to film and dance as well. So as an industry, especially women in this industry, the biggest challenge we have is that people think indiscipline, especially sexual indiscipline, is part of presentation. I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, sexual indiscipline is not part of entertainment. It is not part of entertainment, and it is quite unfortunate that this has been normalized. So if you don't quote unquote kumansula, your work will not be consumed. It is not that I am saying that people who do it shouldn't maybe find a way of controlling it, but it is quite challenging that is the image we have given performance. It is really, really abhorring that even the promoters themselves, if you don't dress a certain way, if you don't say certain things, they will not give you gigs. It's I tell you, it's quite challenging. But anyway, coming to what you asked, I've seen cases of sexual harassment. I've been a victim of some of them, and partly because I have stood my ground. I have said no to some things on some occasions where I have been pushed into a corner to say yes to some things. Because I have a voice, I will say no to them. But now, whenever those kinds of things happen, I remember I am, as an individual, what will happen to the rest of the girls who are in this industry and they're going through this kind of experience? Recently, I was talking to a friend of mine who is working on a movie, and they were going through the processes and stuff, and the time of submitting it to one of the festivals reached, and the person who was in charge of receiving the films requested for an exchange of pleasure. She said no, and she's been frustrated since. First of all, her movie has not gone to participate in the festival, but also because it's a very constrained industry. One person knows another person, so your efforts will be futile. If one person gives a record about you, the rest of the people will change their perspective towards you. And that goes to show you how something as simple as sexual harassment can completely hinder your growth as an individual. But going away from the performing arts industry, it spills over to women in general. And it's not just because of professional inclination. It goes as far as personal relationships, people you know and people you don't even know. There have been cases of femicide where people just kill for passion. As watching the news recently, and a gentleman was, I think it's in Mukono, where men were capturing women and killing them because they are women. And they're dismembering them and putting their parts up for ceremonies. It's quite disturbing that even when you think you are professional and you've gone to school and you've attained your academic credentials and you are a famous figure, you will not be safe from this vice we're talking about today. In 2024, we had a case of Rebecca Cheptegei, who was set on fire by her partner, and we lost her. She was such a promising talent. She was a great person in the sports world. I think the world all over felt her loss. But such a result from femicide, from partner-induced violences especially. So it's not just because we are going up in arms and making noise and we are women and we can shout about violence against women and all that. It's a serious cause. It's a serious cause, which I believe, first of all, we need to actually put our feet down and say, this is wrong. No matter what happens, we need to actually avert the crisis. If need be, we approach the powers that be, speak to them so they can hear us. Because if we don't make enough noise about this, people will not actually get to hear and make substantial change about it. Thank you so much, Rosalie.
Interesting. And I think you've given a very good, well-lived experience, perhaps, because of your association with music and all those industries. Getting to you, Ankunda, talking about the effects of digital violence on women and young girls. How is it? To what extent do you think the effects are, especially in terms of where we are having young dreamers, young achievers who want to keep pushing to get to the best, and also vis-a-vis the pressure around, and then what violence has to play in the middle?
See, the problem we have at hand is that many of us are very African in our mode of operation. People think that for one to be violated against, that for one to feel stigmatized or tortured, it has to be physical. And that is a point where I feel like we're going to flex a lot with you know, this movement that we have set out to achieve, though we must achieve it at any cost, because it is a cause that is attainable. We just need to bring each and every other person on the table and sell the vision to them and sell the dream to them and let them know that it is achievable. And I so very much believe that there is nothing under the sun that is unattainable, by the way. So we just need to sell the vision to the people and have them have a lens or a mirror through which they look at elimination of violence against women, gender-based violence, and we shall be able to curb it. So when you speak about the effects of this violence that we get to have apparently, it is immense, it is real, and it is something we need to fight. Because like I've already said, you do not have to harm me physically for me to, for you to be able to know that I'm hurt. There is so much in the name of emotional torture. There is so much in the name of fear that is inculminated in souls that cannot be explained. It can only be felt by, you know, the person that is going through it. So there is mean statements that you read online, and you know, you ponder about them so much, and you ask yourself, am I actually, you know, that they are talking about? Am I actually as bad a person? Am I, you know, dreaming so much? Is it actually unachievable? Am I just shooting so high? Do I actually just sit down and, you know, as the other person is asking of me? So it brings you in a state of confusion. It brings you in a state where you very much cannot, you can even no longer comprehend what you thought you know you could. So it is a very bad cancer that needs to be fought. That is to the digital part of it. But violence that is physical, violence that is, you know, cultural, because like I already said, it is coming from a cultural background where we already have masculinity that is tending to be negative. I feel like the system has not been in our favor for so long, but ladies, you need to get on the ground and you need to believe that elimination of gender-based violence, especially directed towards us as the feminine gender, is something that can be achievable. And it is also a call to our fellow gents. This is a call to you people, because you do not live independent of us. See, we contribute a lot to this world, and we don't even need to be in a position where we have to explain that, you know, how much we can contribute to the well-being of the nation. And see, when you discriminate against ladies, it is not only deprival of human rights, it is deprival of the nation's development, it is deprival of justice, it is deprival of a lot that could contribute to development of the nation, and not only the nation, by the way, globally. So ladies need to be made to feel safe. Ladies need to be made to feel free, to express, to experience, because they have a chance at life as, you know, the other gender. So we call upon you, our fellow partners, to come and dine with us, come and party with us as we say no to violence that is directed towards ladies. But as I already made clear, violence is not only happening to us. There's actually cases of gents that are, you know, victims of gender-based violence. But of course, our part is what has been happening for so long, and we are calling upon the masses to visualize this as an achievable dream. To, you know, this is not supposed to only be a run towards the cause of elimination. It is supposed to be a call towards action. It is not only supposed to be creating awareness. We are calling upon you people to actually see to it that this violation, this violence, this gender-based violence that is happening apparently can actually be curbed. So it shouldn't only be a cause for creating awareness. It shouldn't only be a cause for alerting people that see we are facing violence, you know, in the name of gender. And it is not actually because we want to cry. It is not actually because we are weak as a gender. I do not very much also consent to that. Ladies are very strong, and we must not even sit to tell someone that, look here, I'm strong, because we have seen likes of people that have contributed so much to the development, to the liberation of nations that we have watched over time. So it is not a very light cause, but when given attention, it is something that is very attainable. And if not paid attention to, like we have watched, it can stigmatize, it can bring people into quagmire, it can bring people into states of doubting their own potentials, you know, and it is detrimental to the development of every nation if the citizens are doubting, you know, their potential to the contribution they can make to society. So let us agree to end gender-based violence. Partly for us, the ladies, we are calling upon the masses to agree with us and to sit on the very same table with us and decide that this is a cause that is attainable, and you need us, gents, just as we need you. So it should be a cause for all, and it is very, very achievable.
Thank you for that. Before I get to you, Miracle, I want to read some of the comments here on YouTube. And this is Charity Kusima. She says that for all the affected ladies, there should be a provision for a healing space for them so that they are not stigmatized in society. Now, this frames my question, Miracle. Society tends to blame the victims and also put so much on you. Things like, why did she dress like that? Where was she going? Why would she even post that? Why didn't she be at this other place? And so all that society says eventually has a troll on how it affects women. And you know, even on Twitter particularly, because this is where I've seen people troll each other in regards to why did you take my husband? Why did you take this? Even sometimes without any evidence. And you know, these clashes, especially that most of these online spaces are drove or taken by numbers. If someone does talk about me or post something that makes me uncomfortable, and then that person has a following, they'll get all the likes, they'll get all the retweets, I'll trend. But if I decided to make a story to revert back to the same injustice, I will not get the likes and stories. How do we create a safe space for women and young girls, or what are the suggestions you give in regards to dealing with the digital violence in that perspective?
Thank you so much, Tweslin, for that question. And I think you really explain it in detail. And I think one of the things that disturb us as young people, as a nation, as, you know, our country or anyone, is maybe ignorance. Yeah, some people do not know actually how much this is grave. They don't know how, you know, the effects of gender-based violence or digital violence. They do not know that this can even cause suicide. It can cause, you know, people drawing back from their dreams, or much, much greater harm. Yeah, we've talked about femicide. So I think it is a call to an awareness, first of all, an awareness campaign. You know, people should understand that this is a serious problem, because digital violence is a reflection of what is happening in where we don't see these things happening, I mean, it is a reflection of what is happening in our society. So it is just a replica, or it is just even a pathway to more violence. So I think, first of all, society needs to understand that this is a problem and accept that it is a problem. Maybe because people do not speak about it, and that is why we are on this campaign. That is why we have these 16 days. That is why we are moving a movement to make sure that people understand that this is a problem that needs to be curbed, and people should be respectful of each other. And another thing is that, once again, I think we need platform accountability. How can our platforms that we interact with, can developers sort of create, an accountable mechanism that you do not have the freedom to violate someone else's space. You do not have the right, yeah? You do not have that leeway, because the problem is these things are normalized. The problem is these things are not persecuted. It is not, you don't report anywhere, or when you report, there are very few people who report. And the problem is that the environment is not enabling, or the environment is inhibiting the process of, creating safer spaces. So it's a call to making sure that how can platforms be, safe enough to the developers, to people who are really working in digital intelligence, who are working with a lot of things around technology. But also, we are speaking to, I think one of the problems as well that we face in our country, or in Africa, or in East Africa, is that we have policies, but are they really, are they acting? Are they really serving the purpose? That is a problem also. I mean, as we move towards making them more adaptable, rather flexible, are they really serving that small purpose that they are meant to serve? How many women in Uganda have reported maybe acts of violence and they have been served justice? How many are there? I mean, some of them even report and nothing is done. So again, it is to really making all the enabling actors to make sure that they really move a uniformed agenda. They really move intentionally, just like I said. It is for all of us, maybe society, and that is up to us, all the people in this country, all the young women, all the men, because this is not a problem of only women. I mean, it is happening to your sister, to your mother, to your wife, and it is really a problem to all of us. So to society, there is a role to play. To government, there is a role to play. To developers, to everyone, every enabling actor, there is really so much a role to play. And maybe for our disadvantaged people, maybe in the rural areas, I think it is up to, civic societies. It's up to us moving to create those societies that are going to enable, that are going to, bring up, that are going to spread, information, that are going to spread awareness, that are going to make people be comfortable. But also, we are speaking to, I think many of the times, as you said, we have a problem of perhaps what help is given to the people who face violence. What help? I mean, there are people who have survived violence, but are they really okay? Are they really okay? And that speaks to a lot of enabling, factors in our community. Thank you.
Interesting. Thank you for that. Getting back to you, Ankunda, what needs to be done?
Well, thank you so much. I will start off this way. We first of all need to acknowledge that gender-based violence is a problem. See, you cannot attack something that is as perturbing until you have realized it is actually eating me up. It is actually a problem. So people need to acknowledge, people need to give attention to gender-based violence, and indeed not look at it as something that is entertaining. See, when people pass by very demeaning comments online, they laugh at them. They think, oh, that person was actually burnt, they were scorched, they were punched. And they are looking at it sarcastically, they are looking at it cynically not giving attention that is actually supposed to be given to it, you know, we are not relating with gender-based violence the very same way it needs to be attended to. So people need to acknowledge that it is a problem, that it is a cancer, that it actually needs attention, and it needs to be fought. It is until the masses have accepted that, you know, this is a problem that needs to be eliminated in society, that it shall attain the attention it needs to gain, and the people shall then mobilize themselves without even anyone, you know, having to push. See, when we keep on calling people to our cause, we are crying out as women to you. We are saying, please do not violate against us. Please do not. People think it is a women thing. People think, anyway, the history of ladies is never finished. It's been like that since ages. But that is actually not the truth. That's not the reality. Because like I already said, gender-based violence is indeed gender. Gender is not only the feminine gender. Gender is all of us, you know. So gender-based violence is something that needs to have the masses take interest in it and realize that it is a problem that needs to be worked upon, that needs to be solved. And then we devise means around how then do we attack it. So that, you know, mobilization, reaching out is not going to be hard. It's not going to be hard for the people that are reaching out, because we have agreed as a nation, we have agreed as a people that we need to curb it. So it is not going to be hard. And it is only then that the parties that should be responsible for helping us in curbing it are going to come in without so much of a push. And I'm also going to call upon our fellow Ugandans. See, people have created platforms for us to use, and in one way or another they are benefiting us or working against us. Technology is here. How about, you know, we create our own systems that we can ably govern and, you know, structure in such a way that they can work against us. We don't always have to use what the people have said we have to use. There is potential in us to create our own platforms if we so deem that, if we so agree that the ones that are in place are not actually serving the purpose they're supposed to be serving. And then, masses, you need to be empathetic. See, it has become a trend that people don't feel for their neighbors. And people think for some reason that it is fashionable. I, for one, believe it is not. Because it is not until that depression, it is not until that stigma has visited you that you get to realize, oh my God, people actually go through a lot. See, people get to extents when they are questioning themselves, when they are feeling left out, when they are feeling like they are not enough. And it is for you, when you're going through those messages, when you're just looking at people online laughing about it, you think it is entertaining. It is not entertaining. See, these things can actually not be worked upon, not until each one of us has a feel of that is going through the violence, that is, you know, being discriminated against, that is going through that is being told, because you're a girl you can't do this, that is being told, because you're a girl you have to serve me this for you to be able to get somewhere. It is not until your daughter comes back home crying to you that, you know, is not able to attain a certain job because I'm a lady, and then you start questioning, but what's wrong with the system? So it should not be a call for only the ladies. It should not be a call that is a cause that is tied to age. It's not a cause that should be tied to tribe. It should be a cause that each one of us, by the way, should willingly, you know, take part into, because it concerns all of us. And we need a safe space for each one of us to operate. See, even a disgruntled woman is not going to ably contribute to, you know, the development of a family, for example. So it does not only affect ladies, and ladies, I repeat, do not live independent of the other people in society. So we all need each other, and we all need to galvanize forces and reach out to just the people that are supposed to be helping us in curbing it, hold them accountable. See, when you put policies in place and they are not serving us, yet you put them out there to serve us, then we should be in a position to say, to put you to the wall and say, the policies you put there are not actually serving us. And people need to realize that there is power vested in us. See, we do not have leaders that serve not until we have asked of them to serve us. Because it is people who decide, we are going to put you at the front. And by the way, you're going to realize and agree with me later on that leaders are supposed to be servers. They are not actually leading, they are serving. So it is the people that are left behind that are leading, because they dictate that, what you're supposed to be doing and what you're not supposed to be doing. So let us hold those officers accountable. Let us reach out to the entities that are responsible for aiding our movement, aiding our cause that is directed towards elimination of gender-based violence. I repeat, it is a cancer, it is stigmatizing people, and the effects of it are real, and we need to work upon it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Harriet, for that. I see someone on YouTube cheering you up. That is Emmanuel Rabuna. Patience, kindly, if you can keep it less than 2 minutes, highlighting on that aspect that mental health has on this, but also how do we help victims? Yes.
Thank you very much, Tresseline. The most immediate way where we can help people who are going through violence is, first of all, acknowledging that whatever they're going through is actually a challenging situation. And two, when you have done that, give them a space to heal. When you go through a traumatic experience and you don't have where to heal from, you'll never recover. And it might have life-threatening conditions, and you might end up forever depressed, you become suicidal, you end up affecting every other person around you. And that goes to say, today I was talking to a friend, and he's a gentleman, and he was telling me about how women are making so much noise about this movement, and how social media is picking up on it. We've been seeing South Africa up in arms about femicide, and there have been movements which have influenced social media platforms all over the world. People are making it a movement. But this has come from a place of great concern that when one woman is violated, people tend to downplay it. And when they downplay it, the effects that come along with that is that people will not see the heaviness of that problem.
Yeah.
So when you give someone a place to heal, when they've been a victim of that kind of violence, then automatically you are growing a platform, one, for those who will be victims in the future, but also you are making people see that, actually this thing is not good. So if we keep on harboring it, it might end up not being supportive to humanity in general. One thing I can tell everyone who is watching me, especially the youth, Harriet has been talking, and I've been remembering what someone said, that people just do some things, especially on social media, to be funny. But it's a meme is only funny until you are the victim, until you are the subject of the meme. And equally, when someone is a victim, it's not as sweet. It's not as sweet. And people now have learned the art of gaslighting, the art of silencing people online. If you're a woman and you're coming up and your voice is very vibrant, people will throw a comment that will put you in a corner and you will not come out of it. So me, I believe, first of all, be good human beings. If you're watching me and you're out there, it does not cost you to be polite to someone. It does not cost you to be considerate of someone's feelings, especially even if you don't know them. If they're strangers online, you will not lose anything if you leave a polite comment for them. Or maybe go into their inbox and correct them if you think something is not right, instead of blasting them there. You don't know the battles that people fight, especially as a result of the comments that you leave online. So I can tell you for sure that from the time this movement has started, from the Mirabel sisters to when UN has led us along a beautiful journey of fighting and advocating, we are still moving and we are fighting a good cause. Fret not, if you are for us, we're going to win together. Thank you so much, Tresseline.
Wow, interesting. Thank you so much, Patience, for those interesting concluding remarks. Now, of course, we have been discussing the International Day on Elimination of Violence Against Women, which was celebrated yesterday, but also is celebrated every 25th of November. And of course, it does equally mark the 16 days of activism, which run up to the 10th of December, which equally is the International Day of Human Rights. And of course, I've been joined by Patience Nwagaba, who is a co-founder at Girls and Mentorship Space and doing amazing work with the women. And also been having Harriet Ankunda, who is an UNSA representative elect for Makerere University and also a student leader. We've been joined by Miracle, who is also a student leader at Makerere University, the deputy speaker, and also a member of the Girls and Mentorship Space. Take home is that violence is real. Physical, emotional, financial, mental, every kind of violence is real. And online-based violence is actually even more real. And we call upon you all to ensure that you do not continue to stigmatize young girls and women, but also do not be one who posts something without consent or something that makes the other party uncomfortable. Ensure that you have the right sources. Ensure that what you post, if it was done against you, you'd feel happy about it. And of course, it's been me, Tresseline Ankunda, hosting the conversation right here at U24. We want to thank the team behind the production that makes it possible, and also to thank all of you, our listeners and viewers, for keeping it here every Wednesday on Youth of Purpose at 9 p.m. Thank you so much. See you next time. Same place.